Valley, hooey Hollywood. Where any office
Welcome in, everybody, to another week of That Movie Show. Mike Wendt and Eddie McCabe taking you to a week of movie talk. Eddie, how you doing this afternoon?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been watching a ton of nonsense. I've been listening to a ton of nonsense.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if the people know that or they should.
I promoted it enough.
Yeah, they should. But yeah, I've been listening to that, and it's funny because I was texting you about it, where it's just like, you have this show where I vaguely know all of the players.
Right.
And so when the drama unfolds, I know I know enough about the situation to be like intrigued and like know everything that's going on and like have an opinion, but it's not my nonsense. And that's the best part.
Well, that's the funny thing, because like each week, like I'm like, okay, are we going to actually do like a real calm, fun, pick a topic type of show? But every week some bullshit drama comes up with either myself or Andy, or mostly with the beef group getting shut down a bunch, or shenanigans over on the old TV show side of things. And it's like, we're living in that, like we're in neutral, and neutral is just all drama.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And like I said, as somebody who's not attached to the drama, right? Like at no point, like, look, here's the thing. I worked on that show, and I didn't even, I just got let go, and they're just not bringing me back. And that's
shocking. They're not calling you either, because I didn't get a phone call.
yeah. I'm just guilty by association at that point.
Everybody is.
You know what I mean? So whatever, who cares? But like I don't have any horse in any of these races, but I know all of the horses.
Right. Well, that's just and I hope that, like, that's always been my hope, because I know that the majority of our audience is coming. And by the way, I don't know if we even said it, that I do another podcast called Nonsense with Mike and Andy. It's on all podcasting apps, and I know a lot of our audience comes from Andy's North Shore Beefs Facebook group. Whichever incarnation it's in this week.
Yeah, but
and
not the one, that's
no, that got shut right quick. But yeah, it's like I hear that, and it's like, okay, at least we're making this very targeted, specific regional drama at least entertaining for people that don't have a complete knowledge of it. And you're not the only one. I have a friend who listens, and she's completely doesn't know anybody. She doesn't know it. Like I'm almost like her Google. She's like, what does this mean? And I'm like, okay, here's the full story of that.
Right here, yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay, that's entertaining. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Here's the glossary. Yeah, so it makes up. I'm really starved for podcast content, which is really tough.
Sure.
Because it's like I listen to. And obviously not this show, but it's like I listened to this, to Nonsense, and then I listened to Bill and Danny's show, a couple of Park Hoppers. Yep. But over the past couple of weeks, they've been like inconsistent in their posting. Mm-hmm. And it's just like,
so
yeah. Look, I'm not judging anybody. I mean,
we were supposed us 3 years, but we finally sent a text today. Hey, maybe we should pick a day.
Maybe we should pick a day and have this be on a specific day that we do this. And it's just like, yeah, you're probably right, because we've always had this conversation at the end when we we stop recording and like start just chatting a little bit, and it's just like, yeah, we should go live. Yeah, we should. We should pick a day. Yeah, we'll do that next time. Bye.
Well, that's just, and now that I've done a couple live shows with Andy on Nonsense, that I'm like, okay, I'm pretty confident in the fact that was kind of like the trial run type of thing. Like, can I do this? And because that's always been kind of the goal of this show, because we have the Facebook page, we can go fucking live and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I think picking a day and keeping the day consistent is first.
Yeah.
And then, baby stepping it.
So like in theory, this will release on Tuesdays.
Yeah, basically.
Going forward, is that in theory what we're doing?
I'll get it up some point tonight after I have dinner.
Sure. Yeah. All right. That's fine. As long as we record it, who cares?
That was the other text. Like, all right, how's Mondays look? I'm like, okay, Mondays are fine. How's the evening? Because I like my beach afternoons now.
Yeah.
I've completely become a beach hobo.
Yeah, of course you have. Of course you have. So you haven't been watching anything. And I've been watching all of the things because it's
I've seen stuff. I mean, I got fucking screens everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the whole reason I brought my laptop is I sit on that sun deck and just watch bullshit. Like literally today I started a re-binge of The League, that old FX show about fantasy football.
Sure.
Why? Because I was watching something else on Hulu and it just auto started and I didn't feel like getting out of my chair to stop it.
I'm almost done with my first watch through of The Office.
Oh wow. I tried doing that because I get the Peacock for WWE. And I showed up to the Hall of Fame late this year. And because you can't start from the beginning or rewind it, you got to wait till it's all over and then watch it back. So I was a couple hours late into that, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do for like an hour and a half or something like that? I'm like, oh, I'll start some Office. So I got like 2 episodes in, and it's not keeping my attention. And I wasn't like, I've seen some episodes like over the years. Obviously, it's one of those shows that you know it was on long enough that you just randomly would catch an episode, and it's been syndicated on all different networks.
Right.
And there were moments where I was like, "Oh, that's funny," or "That's funny." I'm like, "Okay, that's funny," but never like I have to sit down. I kind of found it for me personally along the similar lines of Seinfeld. Like I'm a huge Curb Your Enthusiasm fan, so at a certain point I was like, I got to give Seinfeld a try because I never watched it for years and years, definitely not in the original run. And at a certain point, my brother had all the DVDs. I'm like, give me all the DVDs because I was doing overnight radio. I'm like, I'll start watching them. Like I gave up after like 3 seasons.
Yeah. The thing with The Office was this is my 3rd or 4th attempt at watching it because I had watched like 2 or 3 episodes, like 3 or 4 times, and this time it just clicked. The same thing happened earlier this year with Parks and Rec. I tried Parks and Rec a couple times. I think I got through the first season and I was like, meh, not for me. And this time it just clicked. So I would say, like, you know, periodically kind of come back to it and try it, but yeah, I like I said, it took me 3 or 4 times to like actually get it. Now I'm almost done with it. I don't like the last season at all. You know, Michael Scott is gone. You know, Steve Carell leaves the show, and basically it's like, oh, this was the Michael Scott show, and it's far better. They're making some really dumb choices in terms of like writing and like story arcs.
I knew Steve Carell left the show, and I think Ed Helms took over as the boss of the Office type of thing.
He's actually in it, I think, from the 2nd season on.
Right, but he actually his character Andy ends up becoming Michael Scott's. He becomes the regional manager, right?
Yes.
And now, do you think, because this has happened sometimes when a show gets super popular and like the lead will just, you know, he's getting way too many better offers, movies and stuff like that. Do you think that, because it ended quickly after he left?
Yeah, it only took 2 seasons, or maybe a season and a half.
So I guess my question, without having an answer, just an opinion, do you think they had an end game for this show, or they would just let him go, hoping that they would continue their success, and because it dipped so much, like, well, we got to pull the fucking plug?
I feel like what happened.
I feel like if you had 2 seasons that you knew were left, and then that was going to be it, you would tell Steve Carell, "Hey, man, we got 2 more seasons. We've done 42 seasons of this shit. Let's wrap it up," you know. Because I've heard that side of things, not from this show, but like I remember when it was around season 5 of Sons of Anarchy, and they renewed it for 2 more seasons, and Kurt Sutter came out and go, we got renewed for 2 seasons, and then that's it. And people kept saying, "Oh, you can just keep riding this out," and he's like, "No, that's the end of my story."
Yes.
Like I've written this out, and that is the end of my story. And I'm guessing The Office is not in that same thing. Like they were going to keep riding the roller coaster. If the audience and the awards kept coming in, they were going to just keep riding the Andy Bernard roller coaster at that point.
Yeah. So at the beginning of season 9, they introduced 2 characters. One guy, I don't think that I can remember anything that he's like in specifically, but the other kid he was in Hot Tub Time Machine. I think he was the nerdy kid with the glasses.
Sure.
And so they introduced them as like the new blood. And they start like grooming them as the new Dwight and Jim.
Like they wanted to almost spin off or have like the next, like you said, the next generation of Office.
Right. So, you know, basically I think that the plan was, you know, you had Andy Bernard, which was tough because if you look at the way, like, if you look at like real life, he was taking chunks of time off and they were writing him off. There was like a thing where they, you know, in the 9th season, they're like, you know, Andy Bernard was gone for 3 months because, you know, and it was this thing to do with his parents and he was driving a boat and all this stuff.
And he had to go to Las Vegas with his buddies.
But he had to go. Well, I think this one was him going to Taiwan, or it was one of the sequels, right?
It was one of the Hangovers, yeah.
It was, but he was filming The Hangover, so you know, I think that he would have eventually had to have left. But yeah, I think that the plan is that they were going to just like try to, you know, capture, you know, the essence with new people and just kind of infuse that talent. And much like Scrubs, I think that it just wasn't going to work. And then when the ratings dipped and, you know, they were like, look, let's just give it one more so we know it's an end date and that's going to be it.
Right. And that's one of the things, and again, it sucks when like it's good and bad. It's great for the actor, obviously, for their show to become successful enough that they start to get these big offers, you know, this A-list type offers. But it does dismantle the show that you love and that you've been watching.
Right.
The one that I always go back to, and they didn't try to ride it out. They were on their 2nd season. They were just like, it was Party Down on Stars.
Okay, yeah.
And
everybody got famous.
Everybody got famous, like instantly. And it was like, you know, Adam Scott went off and did fucking Parks and Rec, I think he was on.
Yep.
And Lizzie Kaplan went off and did some show. I think it's on Showtime. Of course, Jane Lynch disappeared in the 2nd season, and she went off and did movies. And it was just like everybody started splintering off and doing all these other things. I think Ken Marino was doing that and another show at the same time. Yeah. And it's still like, it's almost like it's nice that they just kind of called it quits after 2 seasons, because if you go and watch it, it's almost like the Fawlty Towers thing, John Cleese's show from the 70s.
Right.
They only did 2 seasons, and you watch those 2 seasons, like this is 2 perfect seasons of television. There's not a bad episode among them, and they didn't continue to milk it and then have it diluted. And so you can't be like, oh, well, you know, in season 6 of Party Down, it really dipped into bullshit for like half the season. And it's like, no, you got these 2 concise, brilliantly funny fucking seasons of television.
Everything is better when you have a plan.
Right?
I know, it's shocking, but it's like literally everything is better when it has a plan. And it's like, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, make the pilot, get it made first and then, you know, go from there. But it's like, hey, figure out what your character story is and go from there, because too many times we see shows where it's like Prison Break. Right.
I love it, yeah.
The thing with Prison Break is that it was like all this intrigue where it's like the guy's brother got sent to prison wrongly. There was a shadow organization. So the other guy was the main character, like was the architect. So he had the entire blueprints of the prison basically tattooed on his body. And it's like, I'm going to bust my brother out. And it's like, oh, this is intriguing. And then they broke out of the prison and it's just like, oh, cool. We solved the conflict of the thing, and now what do we do?
How many seasons did they drag it out?
Like 3 or 4.
Yeah. The one that I always go back to that I did watch that's very much like that is Homeland from Showtime.
Yes, that's another.
So the major arc was the Brody character. You know, he comes in and is he a terrorist? Is he not? Did they turn him? Blah blah blah. And they dragged the is he not thing out for a little while. The Claire Danes part, they kind of dragged their little, you know, pseudo romance that turned into a romance. It was very like, you could tell they were stretching because they probably knew what they were about to do. And I think it was either at the end of season 2 or even in the end of season 3, they kill Brody.
Yeah.
He gets hung as a terrorist and he's dead. And the show went on for like 4 or 5 more seasons. Right. And even at that point, okay, so you got rid of the main storyline. Okay, well, maybe there's it's government espionage and stuff. You can figure something out, right?
Sure.
The problem I always had with them extending it was the fact that Claire Danes' character was still somehow involved in the government. That she is batshit crazy in that show. Like, she is definitely like 6 episodes into season 1, she would have been taken into a bunker underground, shot in the back of the head and buried. Like, she would disappear. There's no way she would be talking to the president in season 6. You know what I mean? Just walking in, Mr. President. It's like, no.
Yeah, you're introduced to her and she's on like psycho meds.
72 medications.
You know what I mean? Like, she's on like medicines to stop hallucinations. Like, she's an unreliable narrator from the pilot. Like, holy crap.
100%.
Yeah. But it's that same thing where it's like when
they were winning awards.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Mandy Patinkin was there. Like, you know.
They were winning a lot of awards for Showtime, and that's the cable those pay cable companies. That's their bread and butter. I mean, that's the shit. Like, you know, they start getting awards. HBO, it's like, oh shit, we're still winning awards. Let's just keep doing this. You know?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's why Rome ended, because like they didn't win any awards, and it's just like,
that was basically porn. The couple episodes I saw.
Yeah.
It was basically the movie 300 about 6 times with porn involved.
Yeah. Well,
maybe that was a Spartacus one. No,
that was a Spartacus one. Whatever.
Okay.
It's also Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But they like had a Sopranos like time slot, and so they were like really successful. And then Sopranos came back, and was just like, oh, now I don't care.
Those are my comfortable pair of shoes. I want those back. Take these away.
Yeah. Right. You know. So speaking of HBO Max, before it went off the streaming service, I watched all of the what Warner Brothers is donning the MonsterVerse.
All right.
And that is Godzilla King of the Monsters, and Kong Skull Island leading up to Godzilla vs. Kong.
Now, I watched Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
And after watching it, I did a usual after movie Google search. What is this? What was that monster? What was that? And while I was doing that, I'm like, oh shit, this is like, they subtly, in my opinion, they quietly made a universe. I didn't know all these movies were connected. I just thought, okay, Godzilla, King Kong, they're gonna fight. All right, fine. I'm gonna turn my brain off for a minute.
Yeah, they did a great job building this. Now, like, I'll talk about the MonsterVerse in a second, but they did a great job because they did the first Godzilla movie, and it was fine. Bryan Cranston was in it.
Okay, so that was the one that, because I knew Bryan Cranston did one, I just didn't know it was part of this whole deal.
Yeah. So he did this. He did the first. He was in the first one.
Okay.
And then they basically kind of bring people back for the second one, and that one's better. So the big criticism of the first one is that it's like mostly about the human drama, and it's like, well, for a movie called Godzilla, there's not a whole lot of Godzilla in it, and that's kind of lame. And it is kind of lame. The second one, they do it a lot better. And there's a lot more monster fighting. There's a lot more like real Godzilla lore. And it's like, that's really fun. It's really, really exciting. Then they like subtly hint to like Skull Island and like in that movie. And it's just like throwaway stuff. Nothing like, and maybe if we went to King Kong, like none of that stuff. Right. And then they do Skull Island, which is basically it's just like, this is Godzilla. I mean, this is King Kong. This is what the deal is. And that movie's great. I highly recommend Kong Skull Island. Tom Hiddleston's in it. I can't remember her name. Captain Marvel, she's in it. Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, John C. Reilly.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. John Goodman. Like, there's so many good people in this movie. And it's delightful. Absolutely delightful. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And then basically, kind of like how the first Avengers is. I mean, to be fair, monkey punching dragon isn't really hard to follow.
Dude, but they had my attention for 2 hours. I fucking loved that movie. It was, and the best, I described it in comments because there were people that did, when I wrote I was watching it, there were like, I guess some true believers of the fucking lore and all this stuff. They're like, well, and I'm just like, dude, it's pro wrestling. Every 10 minutes, they give me a big monkey fighting a big monster, and I am happy. Like, literally by the end of it, I was doing Jesse the Body Ventura impersonations while watching it. It's like, my God, there's a double team monsoon. And it's like the whole, I was having a blast watching that movie.
Yeah. Kong versus Godzilla versus Kong was fantastic.
I don't know if it was a surprise, but seeing Mechagodzilla was kind of awesome in it, and how
I didn't know that.
Like I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know it was a whole thing. There was what's the like? It looks like a turtle / crab thing. Like I know that's a thing from the Godzilla universe.
Yeah, I forget the monster's name.
But like he popped in for like 2 seconds, and King Kong threw him basically, and I was like, oh, that's a reference.
Yeah, right. Well, the
there
fun
he goes.
Thing, so like one of the big bad guys in obviously in Godzilla King of the Monster, but in specifically in that movie, but in throughout Godzilla is Ghidorah. It's the big 3-headed dragon thing.
Okay.
It wasn't in this movie except for the skull. The skull was in there. That's what
big 3-headed dragon. Got it.
Yeah. And
we're
so
gonna do a lot of that when we talk about Mortal Kombat.
Yes. When I was watching the movie, the person I was watching it with was just like, well, what's the like? Well, I thought they were going to be friends or something, and it was just like, well, yeah, this is ultimately going to be pro wrestling, and just like you said, where it's like they're going to fight, and then something bigger and scarier is going to come and be like, oh, we're not bad guys, we don't hate each other, let's fight this thing, right. And I was just, and so I thought it was going to be like robot King Ghidorah. You know what I mean? Like that's what I thought it was, because again, it's pro wrestling, it's silly and it's stupid, and I love it.
Sure.
Turned out it was Mechagodzilla, and I was very excited because I made us watch Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla on this show.
True.
So you're welcome, because
Thank
now
you.
you knew who that was.
I knew that name. I wasn't calling him Turtle Man with the crab body.
Yeah, right. You knew it.
There's a reference.
Yeah, but yeah, that movie was a ton of fun. It had no right to be as fun as it was. The only thing is that like everything is a shared universe now. Of course, and like they built up this version of Earth in this like monster universe is pretty cool. There's a lot of really cool things in there. There's a lot of cool concepts and cool visuals and things like that. I don't know where we go from there, except for, and you're not going to get this, but hopefully I get one person that listens to the show that'll pop. It's like, what are we going to do? Are we going to bring in Ultraman? Is Ultraman going to be what's next? Which is basically, it's imagine like a cross between Ant-Man when he grows big and the Power Rangers.
Okay.
That's basically it.
And which side does he come from? Is he from the Godzilla movies or from the King Kong movies?
He's from the Godzilla stuff. He's
so
like
King Kong isn't really putting much on the table, is he?
No, he's not at all. I mean, King Kong had one movie where he went to New York, he grabbed a blonde lady, climbed the Empire State Building.
I mean, originally.
Fell off the Empire State Building, and it truly was beauty that killed the beast. And then wrote credits.
I think they've remade it like 5 times, that same exact movie.
Yes.
But where we left it, he's on like, it's like King Kong's version of Wakanda, basically.
Yeah, he's inside the planet.
Yeah, okay. Like he's actually in the planet. Like they dug up, they burrowed into Earth and stuck him in a hole.
Well, because that was the whole thing is, and it's kind of convoluted, but again, you're just like, okay, yeah, whatever, get to the next big fight.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like there's a hollow Earth. So the idea is that all of these monsters come.
The main human character didn't even have dialogue because she was deaf. That's how little we give a shit about the story.
Also, I can't begin to tell you how much I hate the actress that played her like mom caretaker lady.
Rebecca Hall.
Yeah, I don't like her. Yeah, her face looks like she's melting, and just is constantly has her mouth agape. Like she looks like she's about to start sobbing uncontrollably all the time, and I just hate everything about her performance. In everything.
In everything.
Hate the town. God.
Perfect.
No, get out of here. Get out of here, lady. I hope King Kong steps on you or throws a King Kong sized doo-doo on your face.
That would be better. That would be better. Anything else before we get to Mortal Kombat?
It looks like Amazon's trying to start speaking of shared universes, is the Tom Clancy universe.
I've seen the promos. Michael B. Jordan, Without Remorse. Is Jack Ryan a part of this, or is he going to be Jack Ryan? I have no knowledge of it. I mean, are they recasting Jack Ryan now, or what's happening here?
I have no knowledge of any of that.
Okay.
So first of all, if you have Amazon Prime and you're looking for something dumb to watch, then watch Without Remorse. It's pretty good. Now, whoever Michael B. Jordan's agent is should fire him, because Michael B. Jordan constantly finds himself in movies that he is the best part of, and the movie doesn't help him in any way, shape, or form.
Well, normally I would agree with you. In this case, my assumption would be his agent, as we both just said, his agent saw potential franchise.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
well, that's
that's not, hey, let's pick the best role for this fantastic actor with range.
Right.
It's, hey, let's set up the next 10 years of movies, hopefully. And
Yeah,
maybe
'cause
you
that's
could jump in
basically-
on the Krasinski TV show, which we
Yeah.
Googled before we went on the air.
Yeah, that's basically what happens. I mean, it's not there's a post-credit scene, and basically it
They
hints
kind of
at.
allude to it.
Yeah, they hint towards there's a very popular video game franchise and book series called Rainbow Six.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so Rainbow Six, and I'm assuming that's going to be this like Tom Clancy Avengers-esque TV show, movie series, where I would assume they take Krasinski's Jack Ryan, right? And
Because that's an Amazon show.
right. And
Yeah.
then they basically take Krasinski, put him with Michael B. Jordan, and then we have like a fun show. Now, look, here's the thing.
I've heard of worse ideas.
Yeah, sign me up, man. Like, I haven't seen the Jack Ryan show with Krasinski, but I like John Krasinski and I like Michael B. Jordan. So yeah, let's do it. But
The funny thing is, I mean, like, and we talked a little bit off air. We're just gonna rehash it, but these Tom Clancy things, they've been trying to make it a thing since back in the 90s, especially the Jack Ryan character. I mean, Baldwin played Jack Ryan Alec Baldwin in Hunt for Red October, and then 92 to 94, Harrison Ford took over. I think there was probably 2 movies with Harrison Ford, 2 or 3 movies. Either way, that section of the Jack Ryan universe, let's fucking say, it wasn't a thing back in 1990s, but that was fine. Those were, Hunt for October is a fucking excellent movie, and the Harrison Ford ones were fine. They weren't completely my cup of tea, but I've watched them a couple times. Ben Affleck tried to rejuvenate it in 2002. I believe it was
Sum of All Fears.
Thank you. That one I did not like. No. I remember watching it once, being like, "Nope, I'm not." And I think that's where I kind of turned off the Jack Ryan thing, because again, Chris Pine did it in 2014 in a movie I've never even heard of.
I remember the name, but I didn't see it.
Find it real quick.
Shadow Recruit.
Yeah, Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit, 2014, and then that I'm guessing did nothing because it took 4 years and John Krasinski to bring the TV show onto Amazon. Right. They've been doing that since 2018. I'm not sure how many seasons they put under them, but
so there's 2 so far. I would imagine that if it's 2018, 2019, COVID shut down
probably
a season 3, but I would imagine that a season 3 was in the works. Right. I want to say that like Tom Clancy is to like military thrillers as Stephen King is to horror thrillers.
He's pumping out books. Like we looked
They're
again
both
before.
Pumping out books.
It's like he did a book in 2020, 2 books in 2019, 2 books in 2018. The Jack Ryan characters showed up in a laundry list of novels by Tom Clancy. So they got the source material, I guess.
And then that's not even it, because like I said, the Rainbow Six series is like different, and Jack Ryan's.
I was gonna say, I know it's Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, but is it Jack Ryan influenced?
He's the president.
In the game.
Well, no, I don't know about the game. I haven't played any of the games, but in the novel Rainbow Six, he is the president. So like, this, like I said, he's exactly like Stephen King, where it's like Stephen King has just so many books and there's so many characters and things cross over and all that nonsense. So it's like they're basically the same thing, where they're never going to run out of source material. It's just, are you going to be able to do it? Like, are you going to be able to actually make a compelling show with all of these characters? Because people still read these books, right? There's got to be an audience for it.
Clearly, he's pumping them out. Again, neither one of us has seen the Jack Ryan show with Krasinski, but how was the movie with Michael B. Jordan?
I liked it.
Mhm.
You know, I thought it was fun. It was an action movie, right? So there's a lot of shooty gun stuff, you
Mhm.
know, and it's fairly predictable.
It's,
But I really like Michael B. Jordan. If you're a
yeah,
fan of Michael B. Jordan, watch it. One, to support the actor, but two,
right,
like, it's worth watching because he's in it.
right. So, and it's tough because the stuff with, because it's streaming, it's hard to gauge like these movies whether they're successful or not.
Yeah.
Because there is no box office. It's streaming. They're just put out there. And yeah, they can figure out numbers and if a movie is like streamed or downloaded, millions and millions and millions of times, the company's going to come out and say it. I think I saw an
Mortal
article
Kombat.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat's one. I saw one saying that after like 4 weeks, Justice League is still doubling its numbers on HBO Max and stuff. So it's like, all right, so it's
Yeah.
all right. So what does that mean? I mean, if 2 people watched it, you could double your number by having 2 more people watch it. You know what I mean? What does that
Right.
mean exactly? So there's a lot of padding of number, or not so much padding, but like it's harder to figure out what is actually successful.
This has been the problem with Netflix the entire time, and why shows like Glow that are really popular get canceled is because
Right.
it's so hard to quantify, like, is it bringing in new viewers?
Right.
You know, and like that's how they justify spending that.
Yeah, it's less about how many people actually watch it and more about how many subscriptions they get in the time period it's released, basically.
Right. You know, so it's like, are people signing up? And I do think so. It's in the archives, so go listen to it. But it's just like people signed up to watch Justice League. People got
100%.
HBO Max to watch Justice League. So,
we've talked about it since the streaming service started. HBO Max has done everything right.
Yes.
Especially public relations wise to get people to sign up. And it's just like putting their theater movies on HBO Max for at least this entire first year.
The month.
But they put them on for a month. But the whole 2021 calendar is what I was referring to, and it's like they're doing it for free. Like Disney's going to start doing. They've started doing it. They're going to have Black Widow in July, but they're going to charge $30.
Yeah.
This is part of your subscription, whether it's $11 or $14.99.
Yeah.
You're getting these new movies, and it's like brilliant. That's you got me for another month. And they keep also HBO Max is really good about updating content.
100%.
Every week there's like that just added
stuff.
thing. I'm like, oh, I haven't watched that in forever. Yes, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's good stuff. It's not just like here's a bunch of shit that's going to come on here that you're never going to want to watch. It's like, oh, I haven't seen that in forever. Let's watch it.
I go through about once a month and add movies and TV shows to my list.
Sure.
To like knock them off. But like, I just watched all of the Monsterverse stuff. Right. And that was 5 evenings, right? 4 evenings. It was 4 evenings that I watched of all the streaming services, HBO Max. Right? Because that's where that content was. And so it's like they're doing a great job of putting things you want to watch on there and, putting quality stuff. Mortal Kombat, this was a fun movie, and we're going to get to it. And that's the thing where it's just like, oh, you're just putting out great, fun stuff that I want to watch. And, Peacock has The Office in the WWE network, but it's like, yeah, you haven't enticed me with anything exciting,
Peacock is definitely my least favorite, and they're the least favorite by a long, long way. And we've talked a lot off air about just the problems I have, especially because of the WWE network part of it. That's the only reason I even logged into Peacock, and it's like, and even that's all fucked up. So it's like, I'll give them a few more months to figure out the kinks, get the rest of the library uploaded and stuff, because that's what I'm looking for. And I went through, around when WrestleMania was, and I scrolled through the movies on Peacock, and I'm like, there's nothing here. Like I hit like I think 9 movies into my list. I own 7 of them already, and it's just like maybe at some time I'll want to watch Wonderland again for the 47th time. But that's like, whatever. Peacock is very whatever. But HBO Max, it's like that's definitely the one. That and Hulu I watch the most out of the streaming services, I would say.
Yeah.
Disney Plus is definitely like original content based for me. It's that the Disney Plus Fridays is basically what it's become. Between WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, the Mighty Ducks show I'm into. Like I
gotta start it.
It's corny as hell. It's super family friendly. It's like saccharine sweet, but I'm into it. It's like it's an easy 30-minute watch I can watch with breakfast on Friday morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing that it is for like Disney Plus is for me is that it's a comfy sweater.
Oh, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's there. It's as someone who as we mentioned many times collects a lot of movies. What it did is it saved me some money. Because it has the whole Disney library, and those Disney Blu-rays were not cheap. They were about $30 to $35 a piece. So like that was what that did for me. It's like, okay, there's my library of fun Disney movies, and I can sit through a 10-second warning just to go watch a movie like I'm a big boy.
You're an adult.
You're an adult.
You're an adult and actually understand context of things.
Here's the thing. I've sat through more ads on YouTube to watch some people falling down stairs than anything else. I'll sit through 10 seconds to watch a fantastic film from my childhood.
Yeah. People are stupid.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat
was released in theaters and on HBO Max April 23rd, 2021. Had a budget of $55 million. Actually made $66.9 million at the box office, which in this day and age, I guess, is a success. It's been number one for quite a while, I think. But motherfuckers aren't going out to see the Unholy, I guess. Come on.
Oh, those grapes are sour.
I tried, man. I fucking tried. I posted it enough. It's still in theaters. Go see the Unholy. You've already seen Mortal Kombat. I know you have. Come on, go see it. It's not available on HBO Max. It's written by Greg Russo and Dave Callaham, directed by Simon McQuoid. I'm going with it's not McQuoid, it's McQuoid. Stars a lot of people I don't know. To be quite honest with you, I've seen some of them. Some I recognize. Josh Lawson was the one that played Kano. I recognized his face. Louis Tan is in it. Jessica McNamee. But I think I heard or I read or something like that. Are people in it from the Raid? Is that a thing? Like somebody from the Raid is in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The fight scenes are wildly different from the Raid, however. They cut a lot.
Yeah. Wildly different.
But Mortal Kombat, how do I describe my first impressions of it? Very similar to how we described Kong versus Godzilla. Turn your brain off and just enjoy 2 hours of fucking fighting. It's dumb. It has the story. It makes zero sense. If you don't have a back history with this mythology and the lore, you're not going to remember anybody's name, as I do not, except for Kano. It's just, but it's a shitload of fun. Like I watched it and I ended. And I'm like, I don't regret a thing. That was an enjoyable 2 hours. And bonus, I watched on HBO Max, so I'm already paying for the service. So, yay me.
Yeah. I think if you're like, obviously, this is a video game movie.
Yep.
This is, I can confidently say, the best video game movie. Because its competition is Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes, ever. Because the competition is
Resident Evil's pretty good.
Sonic the Hedgehog, and Resident Evil, and Detective Pikachu. Those are
the Final Fantasy movie.
It was
animated. I didn't see it.
Animated and garbage. And then they made one that was based off of the actual Final Fantasy VII, and that was good, but that was different. Yeah, they're notoriously garbage. Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
The sequels to Resident Evil. Yeah. House of the Dead, which we definitely will do on this show.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Blood Rain, like Street Fighter, the original.
The Van Damme one.
Yeah, the original Mortal Kombat ones. Double Dragon. So I
liked Sonic though. Like Sonic did not deserve to be as good as it was.
100.
I watched it and I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Or maybe it was like right before I came down to Florida. It was like I had nothing else to watch. I was scrolling, and I just wanted to sit and eat my breakfast, and I'm just like, I was tired of just scroll, because I'll sit there and I won't start eating until I push play, and I'm like, all right, I'm fucking hungry. I want to eat something. So fine, Sonic. What the hell? It's 90 minutes tops. I actually laughed, like genuinely laughed at a lot of that movie. It was a lot better. Like I would absolutely recommend watching Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, Sonic the Hedgehog was delightful. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, it didn't have a really high bar to clear.
No.
But this Mortal Kombat movie was great. You know, like it was a ton of fun. If you like action and martial arts, it was a ton of fun.
I didn't know what the hell was happening story-wise.
Right. If you're
Sub-Zero kept showing up and fucking people up, and I'm like, I'm good with it.
Yeah, that's what you're here for, right? I think if you're a huge fan of the lore and the story of it, I think that you're out of luck, right? I think that this movie was not actually for you, which I can feel is disappointing, right?
Well, yes and no, because I don't have a clue about the lore or any of that shit. I couldn't remember any of their names. Like I talk movies with this guy on Facebook a lot, and afterwards he's big into the lore, and he was running. Oh, wasn't this part great? And this part, and like he just starts rattling them off, and I just kind of backed away from the keyboard and let him go, and it just scroll.
Yeah, right.
He's throwing names out and this and that, and I just went, I don't know anybody's name except Kano.
Yeah.
It was a ton of fucking fun. Like, that's just, he's like, oh, what about this character? And I'm like, was he the forearm guy? Because you just got to call him the forearm guy with me, man. I don't know. Like I said, I know Sub-Zero because Sub-Zero is, one of the most popular characters from the video game. And I played the video game as a kid. Scorpion I got, Raiden I got, like the main guys from the game I got. And then Kano just stole the movie.
Yeah, Kano was fun.
Kano ran away with the movie. Like every time he opened his mouth, I'm just like, just bravo. Somehow they got to find a way, spoiler alert, to make him come back alive.
Yeah.
By the way, spoilers. I don't even know if I'm spoiling something because I don't know what happened in the movie.
Yeah, who cares? Who
a lot
cares?
of people fought. A lot of people got dead, and there was some awesome blood in it.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to somebody about this, and the movie felt very much like a prologue, right? Like, hey, we just kind of need to introduce this world, right? I need you to know that all the bad guys come from this place and all the good guys come from this place. There's supposed to be a tournament, but the bad guys are being bad and they're trying to kill all the people before the tournament can happen.
Well, that was going to be my big question. It's like, is the tournament going to happen in the sequel? I mean, clearly they were setting up a sequel. I mean, they're going to Hollywood, Johnny Cage poster on the wall. Everybody knows Johnny Cage is. And I'm like, did I miss the tournament? Was the whole movie the tournament?
So
did the tournament happen?
Yeah. So the point of the movie is basically there's 7 tournaments. If you win 7 tournaments in a row, you basically get to take over the other place. Like that's basically the other realm.
Okay.
Right? Like that's the rules of Mortal Kombat. And Outworld has won 6 of them.
Which one's out?
The bad guys.
All right.
All the bad guys. And so basically they won 6, and if they win one more, they get to just run train on everybody.
All right.
That's the rules. And so the prophecy is that they're going to not win the 7th tournament. So because the
prophecy is,
there's a prophecy. Just you got to roll with it. There's a prophecy.
So, but if the prophecy has said that the bad guys aren't going to win the 7th tournament, that's like, is the prophecy like, is this pro wrestling?
Yeah, I guess.
The prophecy is the McMahons. They've decided who's going to win this tournament, and you just have to go with it.
I guess. But the whole thing is that the bad guys, their plan is like, all right, well, here's the deal. We're just going to murder all of the Earth fighters before we even get to the tournament. Classic pro wrestling.
Sounds like a sound move.
I'm going to beat up the tag team before the tag team can wrestle so that it's an easy win for us.
This?
Yeah. And so it's an easy win for us. And then sure enough, that plan goes wildly awry.
Right.
And the bad guys do not win. And now they're out champions and like all this other stuff, and they're hurting leading into the actual Mortal Kombat tournament, which should be the next movie.
Okay, so is Raiden a good guy or a bad guy?
So Raiden is a good guy.
Okay. Scorpion shows up at the end, but he's also the guy who dies in the opening scene.
Yes.
Is there any explanation, or is just a wizard?
So I have no idea. Like that was probably my biggest problem with the movie. So like Cole is the main character of this movie is a made up character, right?
Okay.
Like, and I kind of I was kind of annoyed by the like director and the creator of it because his reaction was like, well, the video games create new characters all the time, so I figured we could too. And it's just like, oh, I don't think you understand what you're making then. I don't. Okay. That's not what we're here for. Okay, that's fine, I guess.
But he was like the grandson or some shit of the guy who died in the opening.
Yeah, so the guy who died in the opening.
So so was yes, and there was the baby died in the opening too.
No, the baby was alive.
In the ice?
The daughter survived.
Where was she?
There were two children. So they daughter. Yeah, so basically the son comes up to the mom and is just like, the baby starts crying, and so they go inside.
That's right. So the daughter is the baby, and they put her in the floor.
Right, they put her in the floor.
Back in the loop.
Yeah,
and it wasn't the baby who froze with the mother; it was the son, the toddler. Yeah. Okay, all right. Because I thought it was a baby in her arms or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, it was the boy.
All right.
Yeah, so he's a descendant of that baby.
So where's the baby in this?
I don't know. She died. She's old. She old and died.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. This is part of the problem. The part of the problem is
these are magical people. If you were going to create a new character, at least make it the daughter.
Right.
At least that. See, I would have been able to follow that story.
Right.
This guy, I'm like, who is he? The son died, and
yeah, he's the great grandson of Scorpion.
Somebody needs to fight so I can stop thinking.
Well, that's the problem. The entire movie is about Cole trying to like unlock his powers and abilities. And
the whole thing was very Deadpool. Like they're all trying to unlock their mutations and shit.
Right. And it's like, okay, that makes sense as to why these like normal humans have these like powers, right? Sure. Because they never explain it in like
the video games. No, you just pick a character and fight.
Yeah, and it's just like Liu Kang can shoot fireballs, and it's just like, okay, I guess we're gonna go with it, And so Cole being this like new character,
I played the game a million times. I never questioned it.
Yeah. But it was just like his whole power was like basically his skin turns into the suit from Black Panther, like Cole. That was like his power. Eventually, he unlocks it, and it's just like, oh, you get a baton, a sword, and your body can like absorb blows and like turn it into energy. Yeah, it's just like you're a vibranium Black Panther suit. Congratulations. And it's like, oh, that's really lame. If anything, his power should have been that he turned into Scorpion. If he was related to the guy and the guy was in hell dead the whole time, his power should have been that he was just reresurrected as.
He got the power of the Scorpion. Whatever
he got
Scorpion's
the power of.
He gets the chain stabby thing and the mask and that would make a hell of a lot more sense.
It would have just been way better if he
I wouldn't have minded that. That would have been fine.
That just would have been way better if that was his whole deal. But
I would say I think they were probably trying to go for moments and stuff like that, but I didn't give a shit. Like Scorpion showed up at the end, and like I said, I didn't care how he got there, why he was there. I'm like, oh, that's the guy from the opening. All right, cool, magic. Yeah. Go.
Yeah. Oh,
Quickly kill somebody before I lose interest.
Yeah, right. Start fighting. I want the yellow ninja to fight the blue ninja.
He yelled, "Get over here!" And I'm like, I remember that shit from the video game.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool, happy place.
Yeah, but it was fun. I really enjoyed it. The fight scenes were great.
Awesome.
It was, it was a ton of fun. It was a fun to watch, and I hope that we get more.
Super R-rated. Like they when they were like, oh, we're gonna make an R-rated Mortal Kombat, they were not fucking around.
Yeah, somebody got their face chopped in half by a spinning hat.
Oh, just the language. Holy shit. It puts this show to shame.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Now, we talked about it last time about this and our friend Michael Jai White getting screwed over again. Which character was he again?
Jax.
Jax was in this movie, so
it's a bummer.
Yeah, it is a bummer. He had a good fucking kill. where he smashed the dude's head together and just
like, well, that
was sick.
That was the best part about this is like the video game ness of it, where it was like the hat spinning and the like throwing the guy through it. It's like that's a real Mortal Kombat fatality. Like, you know what I mean? The jacks smashing the dude's head. That's a real Mortal Kombat fatality, you know? So like we got the things.
The one I was waiting for, and I don't know, I might have been looking at my phone, and if so, correct me. Was there one that the guy got his spine ripped out? Did that happen in the movie? Because I was waiting for that one. That was my favorite. I don't
remember that.
Okay, so maybe the sequel will get that one.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I'm like, oh my God, they're doing these fucking fatalities. These things are awesome. And I remember you grab him by the head and you rip his spine and he's hanging, his spine's hanging. And I'm like, that's going to be awesome to see. Like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but yay.
Yeah, because they did one of Sonya's where like she shot through somebody and you could see her through the hole with the spine. And so it's like, it was awesome. It was awesome. It was a ton of fun. There's a ton of attempted fan service. You know, and I think I think it was just, you know, it's a dumb, fun action kung fu movie.
And we're going to possibly get another one.
Yeah, I would assume so. I mean, everything I've heard is that people are watching it.
Right.
You know, so people are watching it. People are going and seeing it. People are watching on HBO Max. So,
and again, what they're doing, like with the Kong and Godzilla one, these movies don't require a lot of backstory.
No.
Again, the guy from the opening that turns into Scorpion didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit who he was in the opening. I was just like, come on, let's get the fighting. Like instantly, I'm just like, come on. And then they finally start doing it and the blood spraying everywhere. I'm like, I don't care who this guy is or his family or any of this stuff. Just keep going. Just put your foot on the gas and go. And that's what they did. They didn't fuck around. Like, yeah, I guess if you were really paying attention, there was like some kind of a story because of course it's a movie. You have to have a script. Yeah. But like, I didn't give a shit. When they got to that Deadpool dinner and everybody's getting their powers and Kano's cracking wise left and right and all of a sudden he gets a laser eye, it's like, oh, I don't know what happened there, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's an absolute fist pump movie. Like it was a bunch of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I loved it. And so I hope to see more. You know, I really hope that this kind of takes the trend of like with the video game movies, because like I said, they don't have a great track record of these movies. And so it's like you took what the crux of the game is, right? The violence is the draw of that game, and you played into it, right? Like people know the characters, people know the lore, so you played with that. But it's just like the first two movies, like the ones from the 90s, they didn't go into that violence.
Well,
right?
They were also like PG-13, I think.
Yeah.
At least the second one was, definitely.
Right. And so not having them be true to the game and what makes the game a draw, you know, takes out of it. And so there are so many good video games out there that are narrative driven, you know, that aren't just violence for the sake of violence. You know, the one that comes to mind immediately is the Metal Gear Solid franchise.
Okay.
You know, rumor has it, and I don't know where we are with it, but Kingdom Hearts, which is a Final Fantasy Disney video game, is going to get a show on Disney Plus.
Cool.
You know, and so it's like, hopefully we kind of see this new renaissance, kind of like what we saw with Iron Man in like 2008 when it comes to the comic book movies, where it's like, oh no, these can be very serious. These don't have to be campy. These can be real movies that people will enjoy in whatever genre that they need to be in, right? Because obviously the Kung Fu bloody martial arts movie is Mortal Kombat, but a Metal Gear Solid movie is a spy espionage movie.
Okay, I thought I saw something that Dave Bautista was going to be in that, or maybe he was in a commercial for it or something, or like I vaguely remember him.
He was in Gears of War.
Okay, maybe that's it. All right, I don't know all these fucking games. But yeah, like I mean, it seems like we're turning a corner. It seems like it's also I find it convenient that you look at the people who are making these movies, and especially with like the Kong Godzilla, and you had Adam Weingart doing it. And it's like people our age who lived with these are making it. It's not like the Mario Brothers, which is historically one of the worst movies ever. came out at a time where it was corporately made. It wasn't made by people that played Super Mario Bros. Also, I don't know how the fuck you would make a movie about that. It like plumbers and New York or something. I don't know. It's not the best choice. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, 100%. But they're making Illuminations, right? The people that did the Minions and Pets. It's a Universal thing.
Yep.
They're going to be making a Mario movie.
All right.
But it's going to be animated. It's going to be an animated movie.
Okay.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. What they did with Sonic was pretty good. And like
it's a good movie. Like I recommend watching it, especially if you got
Hulu.
Hulu.
Best movies of 2020.
Is that there is also that, but I think that's where we're at, and like these are the first real two big video game movies to come out in recent time, and I think they're doing something with Resident Evil, like they're kind of trying to reboot that franchise a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I tried thinking this whole time about another good video game movie, and I really couldn't. I mean, you could say that Predator was Contra, but not really.
Yeah, no.
It definitely wasn't. But I think the first Resident Evil was really the only one, and then they just cash grabbed their asses off on that one.
Yeah, because the first
literally they cash grabbed to annihilation.
Yeah, the first two were kind of like the games. Yeah, right. Yeah. Resident Evil and Resident Evil.
The first one was great. It was a great movie.
Yeah, I like the second one too, and then 3 through 8 or however many there were just went off the rails.
It just became fuck you, pay me.
Yeah.
But I think that at least, look, we're 2 for 2 here. Sonic, Mortal Kombat, both recommended. Right. You know what I mean? So let's keep that trajectory up. Right. I'm not especially if it drops on streaming service, I'm not a terribly hard audience to grab. You know what I mean? It's like I'm already paying for this shit. You already got me. It's like I'm gonna watch. I can't remember. Probably when I ran the video store in like 97, 98. Was probably the last and only time I watched Space Jam. But I'm going to watch the sequel just because I already have it.
Yeah.
Like but that's one of those ones that, unless I had one of the subscription services to a theater, I wouldn't go see. Like I wouldn't spend money for Space Jam 2. No. But when it drops on probably a Thursday or Friday morning, I'll sit there and I'll watch it. Whatever. What else am I going to do?
Right, 100%. There's so many hours in the day, and that's kind of the weird thing about like the world we live in now, where it's like
just make it good. That's my thing.
Yeah, things are open, kinda like we're more open than we are closed. But it's
Come on down to Florida. Everything's open down here.
Look, here's the deal. Bill and Danny of a couple of park hoppers got to do their annual pass holder preview for the Velocicoaster at Universal Islands of Adventure. Go check out their YouTube page or follow them on any form of social media at a couple of park hoppers or park hoppers show. You'll be able to find it there. But they did a review, and it's like, oh yeah, I want to go to Florida. I want to go to Florida and do that. So
I'm just to twist the knife a little bit deeper. Yeah, I'm looking to try to go and meet up with them at Disney in the next few weeks.
You know what?
I've been looking. So
I'm gonna just hop on a plane and go.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do. But yeah, it's like so the other day I'm looking. Actually, I think it was yesterday, and I'm looking for hotels and tickets because I'm like 3 hours away from Disney, so it's not feasible. I could do one day, but it's a lot of driving.
That's like driving to New York for me.
Yeah, it's insane. So I'm looking at hotels and this and that, and I start texting Bill, and I'm like, is it normal for it to be this booked up and this busy? And he's like, no, but you're looking on Memorial Day weekend. I'm like, oh God, I'm an idiot. And then 6 hours later, it took me so long to then double back and be like, oh yeah, it's also peak season. It's not January when I normally would look. I'm like, oh, I'm just dumb and my brain's on low power mode down here.
Yeah, you're just living the Big Lebowski life at this point.
I really am. So I'm gonna hate them. I'm not gonna hate. I want to get back to work. I really do, but all in due time, I guess. This is not a bad way to,
reset.
To reset and start the second chapter.
Here's the thing. Not to get crazy personal, but it's like so everything fell apart at the wrong time. With so it's like, yeah, you haven't been able to really decompress until now.
No, I mean I've posted it a few times on social media. It's like my entire life, personal and professional, got reset to 0 in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go anywhere. It's like I got divorced and my show got taken away from me, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't know how to describe what happened, but I'm not on the show anymore either. So it's like, yeah, everything in my life just went away.
Right. And then you were trapped in that
I was trapped
room.
in the Cape. I was trapped on Cape Cod, and I couldn't go anywhere. And it was basically like, okay, well, if I can't do anything or I can't go anywhere, that's why I was like, I didn't give a shit. Like, I was day one. I'm like, I'm finding a vaccine. Like, I'm gonna figure out a way to loophole my ass through to get that shot in my fucking arm, because that's all I wanted, because I wanted to get the fuck out of there. Yeah, and sure enough, I did. And
yeah,
first chance I got, I'm like, all right, packing up my shit, because if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it down on a beach in Florida.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
And it sounds way better.
Yeah, it doesn't suck. It's if you have to live this way.
Right.
I highly recommend doing it down here.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat.
All right. What are we doing next week?
We did not talk about that at all. Hold on. I have a list of terrible movies that I think would make Mike mad.
Oh, I think I got one, actually. You sent it to me earlier.
Yes.
About a month ago. That Jackie Chan Arnold Schwarzenegger one.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. That's right.
What's it called? Mask. Iron Mask. All right. So coming up next week, Jackie Chan and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the I believe it was released in 2020.
Yeah, it's
existed for like 5 to 6 years. Yeah, something like that.
2017.
All right, Iron Mask. It's on Hulu. So join us next week for that fun and shenanigans. Thank you for joining us for Mortal Kombat on That Movie Show. Mike Wendt and Eddie McCabe. You can follow us on social media at Mike Wendt, at the Eddie McCabe. The website, I haven't done this in a while. The website is thatmovieshow.net. Facebook.com/thatmovieshowtv. And please, you can Facebook or tweet or anything, recommendations and whatnot, and we'll probably do them, because as you just saw, we don't really plan ahead too much.
Bye, everybody.
Movie Valley, Movie Hollywood, where any office boy or young mechanic